Welcome to the Prescott Lab podcast, not just theory, practical science for everyone. I'm Dr. Jonathan Prescott, a physician and integrative medicine researcher at the Ravenshade Institute for Human Health. And today, we're going to talk about something that most men don't even know they need, until they feel like they've lost something they can't quite name. Now, before we dive in, if you're new here, or if you've been listening without hitting that little button, let me make a deal with you. Just press like that's it. It costs you nothing, but funny thing, the men who like these videos, they tend to feel luckier, calmer, a bit stronger in the mornings. Coincidence? Maybe. But wouldn't it be nice if today was the day you turned the tide? So go ahead, bless your algorithm, bless your health, and bless your future self. And if something in this message resonates with you, leave a comment, even just a one. That's how you let this conversation be yours too. All right, let's talk about castor oil. Yes, that castor oil. The one gathering dust in the back of your bathroom cabinet. Because what if I told you it might just be one of the most powerful natural tools to restore male vitality over 60? I've used it with my patients. I've seen it work, not overnight, but deeply. This oil, when used correctly, can improve blood flow, soften old scar tissue, soothe inflammation, wake up lost sensitivity, and even protect the skin that time often forgets. And the best part? No pills, no procedures, no awkward conversations at the pharmacy. Just you a few quiet minutes and a bottle of oil older generations swore by. Let's begin with the most urgent and overlooked piece, blood flow, because without it, nothing works. 1. Restoring blood flow, restoring confidence. So let's start where it all begins, with blood, because without strong, steady circulation, nothing works. Not your firmness, not your response, not that quiet inner confidence that says, I'm still here. Let me tell you about someone, not Robert, not James. His name was Terry, 66 years old, semi-retired welder from Ohio, still strong in the shoulders, still sharp in the eyes. But when he sat down across from me, he didn't talk about age. He said, "Doc, I still want to, I just can't follow through." And that right there is the sentence I hear more than you might think. Because this isn't about willpower. It's about blood flow, and after 60, the body starts whispering its limits. Arteries narrow, nitric oxide drops, microcirculation slows. You're not broken, you're not weak. You're running low on the very thing that used to show up without asking. Here's the beauty. Castor oil, that thick, golden oil most people forget they even own, has a compound called ricinoleic acid. When applied with warmth and intention, it penetrates deep, dilates capillaries, and brings oxygen-rich blood right where it's needed. Terry began applying castor oil just 3 nights a week. No pressure, just presence. And 2 weeks later, he came back, sat down, and quietly said, "I didn't realize how numb I'd gotten until I started feeling things again." Not fireworks, not miracles. Just circulation returning, like spring thawing out an old riverbed. And that's where I want to pause and ask you, have you noticed any changes lately? Maybe slower mornings, a drop in confidence. If you're comfortable, type 1 in the comments. If not, type 0. Either way, your presence matters. And if you've ever tried something that worked or didn't tell me, I read every one. Because what you share might just help another man feel less alone in this quiet struggle. Now, if blood flow is the beginning, what happens when there's something blocking that flow? Let's talk about something most men don't even know they're carrying, and how to finally let it go. 2. Releasing the hidden scars you never knew you had. If better blood flow opens the door, there's something else that quietly closes it without you even noticing. Scar tissue. Silent, internal, and far more common than most men or their doctors ever realize. A few months ago, I met Walter, 72 years old, retired Navy mechanic. He sat across from me and said with some hesitation, "It's not just softer. It's different, it curves now, and it feels tight, like something inside is pulling." What Walter was describing isn't rare. It's a form of internal scarring built up over years of small, repeated stress, unnoticed injuries, even inflammation from infections long forgotten. And here's what many men don't realize. This scar tissue, it doesn't always hurt. But it bends, shrinks, stiffens, and eventually steals comfort, confidence, and function. In fact, let me read a couple of comments I've received recently. Dr. Prescott, could this explain why mine feels shorter now? Yes, absolutely. Scar tissue can reduce stretch and elasticity. It's not always about blood flow or age. Sometimes it's literally collagen gone rogue. Is it normal for it to suddenly curve after 60? It's more normal than you think, especially if you've had trauma, chronic inflammation, or years of neglect. But normal doesn't mean permanent. This is where castor oil shines again. It has a long history of use in breaking down fibrotic tissue, and the ricinoleic acid inside doesn't just moisturize. It goes deep, softens hardened collagen, encourages the body to reabsorb scar tissue gently over time. With Walter, I gave him a simple plan: apply castor oil to the shaft and pubic base 3 to 4 nights a week, followed by gentle heat for 15–20 minutes. No force, no stretching, just consistent care. 6 weeks later, he came back and said, and I'll never forget this, it's straighter, but more than that, it feels like I've got control again. And that's what we're really reclaiming here, isn't it? Not just anatomy, but autonomy. A man's quiet sense that this body still belongs to me. Now, if you've ever noticed subtle changes, curve, tightness, even a feeling of shrinking, don't ignore it. You might not see the scar, but your body feels it, and you're not stuck with it. In the next part, we're going deeper into one of the sneakiest enemies of vitality that almost no one talks about, but almost every man carries. Let's talk about inflammation. 3. Calming the fire within, rebuilding what time took. Let's talk about a kind of fire, not the kind you can see, not the kind that burns, the kind that smolders quietly, slowly, deep inside the tissues of your body. That's inflammation. And for many men over 60, it's the silent thief of comfort, flexibility, and yes, pleasure. Take Eugene, 68, retired librarian. Calm, precise, measured, he told me, "Doc, it doesn't hurt exactly, but it's like everything's pulling inward. Shrinking, stiff, not like it used to be," and I knew exactly what he meant. Low-grade chronic inflammation in the pelvic region doesn't announce itself with a bang. It creeps in like fog, dulling sensation, tightening tissues, muting response. Here's the science. As we age, tissue becomes more reactive. Blood vessels stiffen, healing slows. And if you've ever had surgery, infection, high blood sugar, or just decades of tension and neglect, your body holds onto that inflammation like an old grudge. But castor oil, that's where it earns its reputation. Its primary compound, ricinoleic acid, is a natural anti-inflammatory. It penetrates deep. It doesn't just soothe the surface, it helps your body release what it's been holding onto for far too long. When Eugene applied it nightly with light heat, within 3 weeks, he told me, "I don't just feel looser, I feel more open, like I'm not bracing anymore." And that's when I knew. His body was finally stepping out of defense mode. Now let me turn to you for a moment. Have you ever felt that quiet tightness down there? That not quite right sensation you can't explain? Drop me a comment if you have. Or if you've never even thought about it, say, didn't know this was a thing. You'd be surprised how many other men feel the same but never say it out loud. And hey, if you're still watching and haven't hit that little subscribe button yet, maybe it's time. Because men who subscribe to this podcast, they've been known to feel 12% less stiff in the mornings. Okay, maybe not scientifically proven, but it might be the most painless decision you make today. Now we've talked about comfort, but the thing most men really miss, it's not just blood flow, not even firmness, it's that spark, that feeling, that deep electric connection to your body and to someone else. Let's talk about sensation and how to get it back. 4. Awakening sensation, remembering who you are. There's something no man wants to admit, not even to his doctor, not even to himself. It's not just that things are slower or softer. It's that when something does happen, it doesn't feel like it used to. I had a patient named Alvin, 70 years old, retired jazz guitarist. He looked at me with eyes that had seen 1,000 stages and said, I can still perform, but I don't feel it. My body's doing the motions, but I'm not in the music anymore. I'll be honest, that one hit me hard, because what he described, I've heard it again and again in quieter words whispered behind closed doors. It's not always about function, it's about feeling, that spark, that pulse, that sacred bridge between the mind, the body, and someone else's touch. Now let me ask you, have you felt this shift? Maybe you're still functioning, but not quite connected. Drop me a line in the comments, just a word, a yes, or even a question. You'd be surprised how many men are silently walking the same road. Now here's what most don't know. As we age, nerve endings dull, circulation declines, inflammation builds, medications add up. And one day, sensation fades not dramatically but subtly, and with it sometimes so does confidence. But castor oil, it does something remarkable. In some studies, it's been shown to support nerve repair and soothe irritated pathways, not just by hydrating the skin, but by restoring the deeper network underneath. When applied regularly, especially with gentle heat, it creates the perfect environment for nerve endings to wake up again. Alvin gave it a try every night, slow and intentional. And a month later he came back, didn't say a word, just smiled and tapped his chest. Then he said, I'm back in the music. That's the power of sensation. It's not just physical, it's emotional, it's primal. It's what makes us feel present in our own skin. And if you've made it this far in the video, let me just say this, you're not watching a tutorial, you're part of a real conversation, and your presence matters here. So please don't just scroll away. Let me hear from you, share a thought, a worry, a win, I'm listening. Now, even if your nerves are alive again and blood is flowing strong, none of it lasts if the skin itself is dry, thin, or damaged. That's where most men get blindsided. But don't worry, we'll cover that next. 5. Strengthening the skin, protecting what matters most. We often talk about muscles, about hormones, about energy, drive, and blood flow. But we rarely talk about skin. Especially not the skin in the most private part of a man's body. And yet, after 60, it changes. I remember a man named Franklin, 73, a retired school principal. He came in, cleared his throat, and said quietly, the skin down there, it's thinner, feels fragile. Sometimes it even cracks, it makes me nervous. And I nodded because he's not alone. As testosterone drops and collagen declines with age, the skin in that region loses resilience. It becomes dry, less elastic, more prone to micro tears, the kind you don't always see, but that signal your brain something's not quite right. And over time, that sends a quiet message. Don't touch, don't try, don't trust. That's not just physical, that's psychological retreat, but it doesn't have to stay that way. Castor oil once again brings more to the table than people expect. It's not just moisturizing, it's deeply nourishing. Thick, rich, and able to penetrate into the dermal layers where ordinary lotions fade fast. When applied regularly, castor oil helps restore the skin barrier. It locks in moisture, reduces irritation, and creates a smooth, resilient surface that protects the nerves and vessels underneath. Franklin began using it just 2 or 3 nights a week, no rituals, no pressure, just a moment of care before bed. And a month later, he told me something that stuck. I don't worry anymore. It feels stronger. Like it can handle life again. That's the goal, not perfection, not youth, but confidence, the kind that comes when your body starts working with you, not against you. Because when the skin is healthy, right arrow nerves are better protected. Right arrow circulation flows more freely. And the entire system, performance, sensation, intimacy, starts to function as it was meant to. You don't need expensive treatments. You don't need a drawer full of creams. Sometimes you just need to nourish what's already yours. But of course, none of this works if you don't use it the right way. And sadly, that's where most men go wrong. So in the next part, I'll walk you through exactly how to use castor oil safely and effectively, and I'll answer the questions I get asked the most. Let's make this simple. Let's make it work. 6. How to use it right and what most men get wrong. So you've heard the science. You've heard the stories. Maybe by now you're even starting to feel a quiet flicker of hope, but this is where many men stumble. They try once or twice. Get unsure, see no change, then quit, not because it doesn't work, but because they didn't use it right. Let me make it simple for you. First things first, a question I get almost every week. Doctor Prescott, does it have to be a certain kind of castor oil? Yes, use 100% pure, cold-pressed castor oil, no fragrances, no additives. The thick, golden kind. You want the real stuff, not the drugstore knockoff. Next, do I apply it cold or warm it up? Warm is better. Just roll the bottle between your palms or place it in warm water for a few minutes. You're not trying to cook it, just make it body temperature. Warmth helps absorption. It tells your body, hey, it's time to relax. Where exactly do I apply it? Start with the shaft, base, and pubic region. Avoid sensitive openings. Use slow, circular motions, not like a chore, but like a moment of care. Think 3-5 minutes before bed is best. Can I skip the heat compress? Technically, yes, but if you want maximum effect, use a warm towel, heating pad, or rice sock for 15-20 minutes afterward. It helps open blood vessels and draws the oil deeper into the tissue. Some men even say the warmth alone brings sensation back. How often do I do this? Start with 3-4 nights a week. Consistency matters more than intensity. Don't expect fireworks overnight. Think of it like watering a dry plant, not flooding it. One of my longtime patients, Gerard 69, once told me, at first it felt silly, but now it's become a ritual, not just for down there for me. I feel more in tune with myself, and that's the point. This isn't about performance, it's about presence. About showing up for yourself in a way that's quiet, grounded, and healing. So if you've got the oil and you've got the curiosity, start tonight. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to begin. And in the final part of this episode, I want to speak from the heart. Not about oil, not about anatomy, but about you and the part of this journey that no one talks about. 7. Conclusion: you're not broken and you're not alone. I've spent over 30 years sitting across from men who came in not because they were in pain, but because something deeper had gone quiet. Not broken, not sick. Just disconnected from their body, from their confidence, from the man they used to be. And I want you to hear this now as clearly and kindly as I can say it. You're not broken, you're not alone. And no, it's not too late. You still have power in you, you still have healing ahead of you. And you still deserve to feel good, not for someone else, but for you. This small ritual we've talked about today, castor oil, gentle touch, intentional care. It's not just about restoring blood flow or easing scar tissue. It's about showing your body something it may have forgotten, that you haven't given up on it. And if that message spoke to you, if something in today's podcast made you pause, or stirred something deeper than just curiosity, then I have a small favor to ask. Let yourself be part of this community. We're building something real here, a quiet brotherhood of men who refuse to fade into silence. If you haven't yet, go ahead and hit subscribe. Not because it helps me, but because it keeps this door open for you too. And that little like button, tap it as a sign to yourself. I'm still here, I still choose health. May that one gesture bring you a little luck this week. A little more energy in the morning, a little more warmth at night. I've seen stranger things happen. And if you've got a story to share, a question you've been carrying, or even just a word, leave it in the comments. I read every one. And more than once, a man's comment down there has helped another man up here find his way back. Share this episode if it made you think of someone. Someone who's been quiet lately. Someone who might need to hear what you just did, because healing doesn't just happen in private. Sometimes it starts when one man tells another, hey, listen to this. I'm Dr. Jonathan Prescott, and I want to thank you truly for spending your time here with me. Until next time, be gentle with yourself. You've carried enough for others, now it's your turn.